Well, hello everyone. I just got back from Avatar: The Way of Water, the long-awaited sequel to James Cameron's 2009 blockbuster Avatar, and I gotta say, it may not be my favorite film of this year, but I enjoyed it. It may not be my favorite Cameron sequel either, but I still thought it was good. I mean, if you ask me, my favorites are I had to pick one to be T2, closely followed by Aliens, as you can tell by my shirt choice. So let's get it started. So both in and out of the universe, more than 10 years have passed since the events of the first film. Much has changed, not just about pop culture landscape, but also on the forest moon of Pandora, when another attack from the corrupt RDA forces Jake Sully and Neytiri, as well as their young family, from their home. They have to forge an unlikely bond with the people of the water on the planet in order to defend themselves from this threat, but also find a new home for their people as well. So, as you can tell by the description, the story this time around is darker, more personal, and the character journey I think is much more fulfilling than the first film. So, which was admittedly an issue people had in hindsight. So there's that. So, if I, it's been a long time coming for this film, and especially factoring in how everything happened. But with that being the case, so I definitely consider it to be a worthwhile sequel, the first of at least four or potential ones. And it's more expensive this time around. Like each individual installment has cost at minimum $250 million a pop, so that's $1 billion for all four of them. Meaning it would have to be within the top five biggest hits ever just to break even, let alone be considered hits. And even though it's not going to be an apples to apples comparison for the box office landscape like 13 years ago, obviously, it isn't entirely clear to me that it is going to be a big hit. I definitely saw at least 50 people, myself including the audience, when I went to go watch it. And even with all the discourse from a storyteller, he still has quite the spectacle after all this time. Acting relatively strong across the board, not just from the returning cast members, but also some new additions. I think that might be Cliff Curtis. Providing the voice and motion capture of the the Water Tribe. He's an actor I really like and have for a long time, and definitely does his best no matter what role he's given, whether it's something like Whale Rider or something of this magnitude. And I definitely, if you get a chance to see this in 3D or IMAX, I definitely envy you. But even just seeing this in 2D, it's clear you see all the money on the screen, and how even in this day and age, there is still a place for like a more traditional, non-DC style epic. I mean, that's you only get one, James. I'm not going on that. I will say this: as someone who went to go see the Batman and Wakanda Forever on opening days, the runtime's not going to be a deterrent for me, and just something that James himself acknowledged. I mean, his previous films also often pushed this runtime and they made absurd amounts of money. So there's that. For what it means for the next three installments, let alone other ones he potentially wants to explore in this universe, I am not certain, but given how that these were all filmed at roughly the same time, and even the visual effects were completed long before the cameras rolled even, but it is inherently clear that this is going to be one of those too big to fail kind of projects, man. Especially like the biggest gamble I've seen since the Mouse bought out Fox, man. They cited this as one of the major IPs they have not alongside obviously like the X-Men, Deadpool, and the Fantastic Four, and other Marvel characters that were previously locked behind Fox. And that's why I compare this current state of movie making, especially with the current state of affairs, not to Monopoly but to poker. I mean, you have basically have two options: to fold your hand like WB Discovery did with Batgirl and Skooks, or like this movie, to play it. When given the choice, even if the hand might lose, I will always choose the latter. So, anyway, hey, I will have to say that this is like a solid 3.5 out of 4, and now on to some coming attractions. Release order again to keep things relatively objective, so Man Called Otto, January 13th. Not really hard pressed to see that. I mean, for now it's only a hard pass, and I did not read the book it was based on, but it's kind of a typical award bait drama you would see in January anyway. Hey, I mean, they're probably just cutting their losses because everybody's probably going back to school to work, or else kind of have their funds exhausted from holiday spending, so there's that. Subject: February, The Old Way, which is a Nicolas Cage revenge western, and I do like me some Cage, and I've often been compared to him of the celebrities I resemble at this point in my life. But I gotta say this. Yes, it's nothing I can't wait to come on VOD personally. I mean, what exactly can I say? Not exactly unbearable weight of massive talent, is it? I mean, between on the Cage scale, it's obviously not going to be reaching not the Beast level of crazy. Hey, but it seems like at the very least, like Bad Lieutenant, Protocol New Orleans, and Subdued. I mean, of course, I have more confidence in blockbusters. Speaking of which, let's get into it. May 5th, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I wanted to talk about this and the other ones I wanted to sooner in a different video, but now's as good a time as any. I mean, the third and final installment of the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, teasing like an emotional yet intense finale to all these characters, and with, especially given how both the actors as well as James Gunn are moving on to the projects. I mean, I definitely think this should still be cool. Well, and it makes sense of it going like this, while given how both the characters and the individual films have some of the most emotional torque of the franchise to date. 15 years since the first Iron Man, when this comes out. Again, they reached kind of stage in their both in terms of longevity and variation, like with James Bond or Godzilla, where even though not everyone likes the same interest the same way, there's a core group of people who will stand by them no matter what, through the good and the bad. I'll definitely be talking about this more when I talk about She-Hulk in their holiday special, so stick around. So, June 23rd, the most recent release date for Transformers is Rise of the Beast, which takes place 7 years after the ends of Bumblebee in 1994. Hopefully, this could do for the 90s what that film did for the 80s in terms of representing not only Transformers, also homaging a lot of the films that came out of that one, like how the filmmakers admit they're pulling off from like T2 and The Fugitive in this film. I'm okay with that because those are two of my favorite action films of that time period. I mean, and just even though I'm not sure what to think, it's got potential though. The prospect of seeing live action Beast Wars characters is alone enough to get me intrigued. I mean, it could be a pile of scrap. It could be cool. We shall see if that is just Prime. Again, I would love to have seen Gary Chalk come back as Primal, but Ron Perlman is good with me. And last but not least, Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny, June 30th. I mean, which is going to be not only something of a one last ride for Indy, but also the first film in the franchise to be directed by someone other than Spielberg. That being James Mangold, who I'm very confident in given his work on everything from more character-driven for period pieces such as Walk the Line and Ford vs. Ferrari, but also blockbusters such as The Wolverine and Logan. And I mean, I'm not sure I could have gone expecting this to be Professor Jones' Logan, but it's definitely coming full circle, harkening back to like the Adventure series of the inspiration for the series. I mean, shooting everything practically and only having CGI be an assist, especially when they're digitally de-aging the character to his younger self. How definitely resembling tonally, stylistically, the pulp action films that came out of that time frame, and even the whole plot of taking place during the space race in the late 1960s has enough to get me intrigued. I mean, I'm also liking supporting players like Phoebe Waller-Bridge as Goddard, as well as like Miles Mickelson as the antagonist as well. And of course, they got John Rice Davies back as Solo. I mean, come on, who doesn't love him? Who doesn't love Gimme? Am I right? All right. Anyway, we all have to say for now. I did hear about what the Pokemon Company said earlier today, but that can wait until 2023 at the earliest. I'd say that will be all for now, and I will see you all again soon. Take care, everyone.